So I swear I've done this. It's my fourth time trying to record this podcast. I don't know what's going on, but welcome to As a Man Thinks podcast. Today, we're going to talk about sexual desires. And I wanted to first talk about a young man named Deshawn Watson, who was a quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. He was he had 25 lawsuits brought against him from different massage therapists. They alleged that he asked them to touch him and he was rubbing himself against them. They brought these lawsuits against him after he asked to be traded from the Houston Texans. And so last year they sat him down for the whole year, didn't play him, told him to stay home. This year they traded him to the Cleveland Browns. Last year he made his $40 million for doing nothing. Cleveland gave him a contract extension of $230 million. They anticipated that he would be suspended this year, so his salary for this current season is $1 million. His case was seen by an arbitrator of the NFL through the collective bargaining agreement, whereas somebody outside of the commissioner would hear the case, sentence him, or hand down punishment, whatever you want to call it. So he was found guilty of these accusations, and they gave him a 6-game suspension. The NFL went into an outcry. The public went into an outcry about, how few games he received. The analysts on TV were talking like, he should get more. Some said that was the precedent of prior people before him in this same situation. Not as many people, but they set the precedent for that. 6 games. The NFL, under the same CBA, had the option to appeal the sentence, to which they did, and have it heard by somebody within their organization, the NFL organization. So that's what they did. There's no timetable on this. They want him to get at least a year. They want him to go to counseling, and they want him to sit up there and say he's sorry and be remorseful. I don't agree with that part, because if he really didn't do anything, then why would he be remorseful? He didn't get charged in a court of criminal law. They sent his case to 2 separate grand juries, and they failed to come back with an indictment against him. So, if he's telling the truth, why would he be remorseful? I wanted to give you a little bit of the backstory, because the sexual desires that sometimes we as men have, women too, but I'm speaking from, a man's point of view, and I'm not speaking for all men. Some men can be horn dogs. I was in a situation for a lot of years of my life where I seen a lot of guys they had some sexual desires because they couldn't be what they wanted. Some of them did try to get with the women, who were the staff, but I've seen a lot of guys succumb to the pressures of not being able to have sex, and so they chose to have sex with another person of their gender, that's not my premise. They can have sex with whoever they want to. When you let your desire, though, your sexual desire overtake sometimes like common sense, or it overtakes a logical sense, not common sense, but, logic. I can't, just because I'm horny, I can't just be walking around outside with my dick out. That's not going to work, because they have a law against that, indecent exposure. I can't be going around little kids and whatever, or women or men, exposing myself. So in the case of Deshawn Watson, if we're going to play the hypothetical game, I don't know what happened. I wasn't there. There's no cameras. Let's say hypothetically that he got the massages. You get a massage. I've been to a massage parlor. I take off my underwear. I lay on the table, but I put, they give you a towel or a sheet or whatever. They put that over you. While they're massaging my back, they keep it, kind of halfway on my butt, kind of covering my butt up. When I get ready to turn over, they hold the towel, out against them, so they can't see it, and they drape the towel back, over when I'm laying on my back. They lay it over, my genital area. So there are people that do, give those type of massages, and they're totally, on the up and up. They're there to do a job, to relax your muscles, to get out any pain. Hypothetically, what if that's what he did? He turned over, he was naked, he might have, exposed himself for a couple seconds, the lady put the towel over him. Let's just say hypothetically that all these women I'm going to start with one woman might have been in cahoots, because I read that the lawyer went to Deshawn Watson and tried to get him to settle out of court. Get this, for $10,000 to $15,000. The first case, $10,000 to $15,000. If you're so distraught, if you're the woman, why not go to the police first, then go to the civil suit, the civil lawsuit? I'm not understanding that. I'm not a woman. Not that women don't have anything to, that's not all, but I haven't been put in a situation where I've had to, felt violated in any way. And so they settled all the cases. They settled every last one of them. I think they had 30. And so they just told them, hey, we'll, settle all your cases. So anyway, if he didn't really do anything, they know he's a famous football player. They know he's made over $100 million in his short career through endorsements and his contracts. Some people in this world are out for money. Some people will do anything to ruin your life. Now, if you don't put yourself in those situations, again, going back to the sexual desires, to using logical sense. Me personally, I got a lot of money like that. If I wanted to have somebody touch on me while I'm getting a massage, they have services for that where the women will not say that you're molesting, not molested, or that you're illegally touching them. They will let you touch them. He can pay for those type of services. And if that's his thing, then that's what he should have did. But maybe it's mine. Maybe it was a mind thing that he didn't want to have to pay that much. And it was the thrill of an actual licensed massage therapist, him living out some type of fantasy. Like people have all different type of fantasies, that they may want to experience. Some of them are sickening to me. Some people want to be with farm animals. Some people, especially the people who want to be with little kids, that's totally gross to me. That should never happen. I myself had, at a younger age, have been molested, by a older cousin, and it wasn't a woman. It was a guy. I know that some people, a lot of people have been molested, men and women. People don't like to talk about it. I have been open about it. Before I was open about it, used to bother me. So in cases where people have certain desires, you never know what happened to them prior in their lives. Whether it was at toddler age, teenager, even an adult. And just because it could be a young man, and say he's, I read these cases. I read these stories that these young men that are in high school, they have a relationship with the teacher. Teacher may be in her 20s, maybe in her 30s, whatever. So as a young boy, when you coming up, you horny as all get out. All you want to do in this order, this was me. I don't know about the guys now. I wanted to eat, sleep, and have sex. That's it. That's all was on my mind. I went to school enough to get good grades so I could play on the sports teams. But when puberty hit and you start having those hormones, I just wanted to have sex. I just wanted to do it. I didn't get that chance as early as I thought because I just wasn't, I wasn't desired by other females like that. But when it started happening, I took advantage of it. I took a great deal of advantage of it. So I understand how somebody's desires can sometimes outweigh the logic of situations. I used to be at people's, you kind of like go over a girl's house and the parents come home, you jumping out windows or running out the back door. Yeah, I was doing stupid stuff because I wasn't thinking. I let my sexual desire overtake me. This is at a young age. I was still in high school, very young age, and so in the cases of people trying to live out their fantasies, so to speak, they will go and do some stuff. Some people may like having sex in public. Some people may like watching. They may like being watched while they have sex. They may want to invite a third party in. Or they may want to invite 4 or 5 people in to, for them to have sex with. They want to role play, dress up, get spanked. I watched this old show on HBO called Real Sex, where the dude wanted to dress up like a baby. And he wanted to sit in the lap of this lady while he had on a diaper and a bib, and she breastfeed him, or she had an actual bottle because he wanted to be, treated like a baby. That was his fantasy. Some people like the BDSM. Is that what it's called? I think I said that right. Where they want to be dominated, and sometimes it's powerful men and ladies that they are making decisions so much all day that they want somebody else to be in charge. And so they go to these things. Again, if you can do these things and you still be logical where it doesn't put you in criminal danger, if you have money where people are not going to want to sue you, people are not going to want to harm you, that's a totally different thing. I mean, freaky is freaky. I mean, I'm a freak too. I like to do freaky things, all that. I believe in all that. We go to the sex stores. We visited some places, and watch some people before, just as watching, we didn't indulge in anything, but we did watch. And it was, but again, we used our logic. We didn't indulge in something that was going to ultimately maybe endanger our lives. That just didn't happen. So now I want to talk about what if he did do it. So getting back to Deshawn Watson, if he was exposing himself, keeping the towel off, I think one of the ladies said that the towel was on him when he was laying on his back and he removed the towel, and he started stroking himself or something like that. So if he did that and you have millions of dollars at risk, you have your freedom at risk, the public shame at risk, and maybe he thought, and maybe he could have been thinking that, hey, I'm a professional athlete. I got power. I got social influence, social stature. So these women ain't gonna say nothing, and if they do, I could pay them off. But when it came out, he didn't want to pay them off because I guess he didn't want that, the guilt on him, allegedly. Now, I'm not saying that he did it, but we're going with if he had that desire to expose himself, to stroke himself, while the young lady was massaging his body, This is something that, I don't know, bro. Like, it just, like I said, you can't do that. You just, like, why would you even put yourself in that situation? Like, the career that I have, I work in the construction field, so this has nothing to do with sex. This is something else. I don't smoke weed, but weed is legal in California, so you can buy weed and smoke it. But on a construction site, if you so happen to be walking and you trip over a 2x4 or a piece of pipe or whatever, or you're in a company truck and you get in an accident, the first thing they're going to do is send you to the lab and get drug tested. They're going to breathalyze you and drug test you. So why would I smoke weed just because it's legal? I've never smoked weed. I don't smoke weed. But why would I smoke weed and take a risk on getting hurt at work and knowing that I'm going to get drug tested and then lose the career that I have? That wouldn't be smart. I work very hard to get where I am. That's that logic. The sexual desires, I know I said that. It's about this. It's about that logic. You just can't make rash choices. I made rash choices when I was younger, and it didn't end up well. At the time, sometimes I thought it would. Sometimes it did work out for a little bit, but then in the long run, it didn't work out. It always came back to bite me in the butt every time. When I thought I was taking a shortcut, it really wasn't a shortcut. It was fool's gold. It looked like gold right there, but then it went away. And I ended up having to start back over and go the way that I should have went the first time. So in the case with somebody who, has these desires, like I said, a lot of people are into a lot of things, and if you do it in a safe, controlled environment where the participants are both willing, I understand that sometimes two people can be consensual on some stuff, and then somebody get mad, and then they want to play the victim, and they want to lie. I don't like that. I think that people that do that, if it comes out that they are lying, that they should get charged. That's just how I feel. People who accuse people of rape, accuse people of robbing them, killing people, I think that person who got on the stand or made the police report, they should go to jail. That would stop people from falsely accusing people. In the case of Deshawn Watson, I don't really know what to believe. Me personally, I think it was a money grab, but that's just what I think. He, very high profile player. The Texans didn't want to lose him. This guy was 25 last year, top 5 quarterback in the NFL. He just didn't want to play for the team because they wasn't building anything around him. They traded away his best two receivers. So he felt like they wasn't trying to win. He wasn't just about the money. He wanted to win. He was getting paid, don't get me wrong, but he was like, this is not a good situation. So he tried to remove himself, but he had already been doing damage before that because allegedly these incidents took place before he made his trade demands. It's just that they brought the lawsuits out. I mean, it was like within the month. All these people just start popping up. So like I said, since then, he settled the cases in civil lawsuits. As you might know, it's not like criminal. You don't have to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. It's like you have to prove 51% to a jury that more likely than not, you committed these crimes. And since this case has been in the papers, the internet, all over sports media, he already knew that he wasn't going to win, so he just cut his losses, which I probably would have did the same thing. And he settled 20 of the 24 before the arbitrator looked at his case. And then while the arbitrator was reviewing the case, 3 more people came forward and wanted to settle. They estimate that he settled these cases for somewhere between $250,000 to $500,000 a piece, although nobody knows. So if that's so, he has lost an upwards of, could be, if they're 500,000, times 23 people, that is 11,500,000. If they are 250,000, then he has lost 5.75 million. So if that's the case, he's got the money to pay it. Just like I said, his new contract is $230 million guaranteed, and he was only going to get paid $1 million for this year. He got paid $40 million last year. So, money to his main thing to me was he didn't have to go to prison. He's going to lose some money. That's true. He may not play this season. Like I said, the NFL, they're probably going to get their wishes and suspending for a year, indefinitely, at least a year, and they want him to grovel. And did I mention Deshawn Watson is a black man? I say that because Ben Roethlisberger, former quarterback of the Pittsburgh Steelers, had 2 sexual rape allegations against him back in, I think it was 2008, 2009, somewhere around there. Or it might have been a little later, whenever it was. He got 6 games. The commissioner sentenced him to 6 games. Then he went back and lowered it to 4 games. Ezekiel Elliott, same situation. He got 6 games. They didn't lower his. In both cases, no fines were given. The NFL wants Deshaun Watson suspended for a year, at least indefinitely, and for him to pay in upwards of $10 million in fine money. Yeah, black man. Ezekiel Elliott is black too, but you see, he didn't get his sentence, his suspension reduced, and he was never charged in court. Ben Roethlisberger wasn't charged either. I think Ben Roethlisberger settled out of court, paid the young lady some money. Ezekiel Elliott, I don't know if he paid money or not, but I know he was never charged in court. And he still got suspended. Not really understanding that. You didn't get charged in court, so anybody could say something about you, and then the commissioner just like, oh, man, somebody accused you of this, so, we're going to suspend you. What? It's BS. Other guys have gotten suspended. Stuff has been on camera or whatever. That's different. But if some man or woman can say that you did something to them and then you get suspended and lose your money and you got a family to care for, that is BS. I'm here to say it. I don't like it. Garbage. So anyway, my sexual desires topic, it can land you in a lot of trouble. It can land you if you are a person who you act on impulse and you're in the wrong neighborhood, you're in the wrong setting. If you are a high-end person, not high-end, but kind of high social status, and you go to certain places and they kind of turn their eyes the other way while you do things, then, you used to get away with stuff. But like me, it seemed like I was always that kid in school that I see somebody else doing something, and then as soon as I try to do it, I get caught. Somebody else talk or whatever, and then I whisper back, teacher catch me. So that trend continued, for a good part of my life. I thought I was getting away with stuff, and I wasn't, like I said earlier. So if you have any sexual desires there, use your brain before you act on them. Definitely, if you're thinking about having sex with multiple people, strap up, brothers. Don't let the woman tell you, oh, I'm good. Yeah, you might not be good, man. You might feel good for that moment, but remember what I said? That's just that moment, and you might have some damning after effects. psychologically too. I believe that every time we sleep with somebody, have sex with somebody, that we're sharing our soul with that person. We're, the people who we've had sex with, some of them we're sharing with that other person. I believe in stuff like that. Ain't nobody gonna tell me no different. It's just it's a weird thing that happens. People that have kids with each other, and they like, man, why'd I have to get this chick pregnant? Because you and her were supposed to have a baby together to grow up in this world, because that kid is supposed to do something purposeful on this earth. That's why. So strap it up. Missy Elliott had a song, I forgot what it was called, but at the end, that's what she said. Strap him up, man. Don't, not promoting going out here having sex, for the little kids, whatever. As parents, we should be educating our kids in the best way possible. So anyway, until next time,